Hello, welcome back to the Wrestling Newsroom. I'm your host, All Things Wrestling, and today we're going to look at all the wrestling news from Thursday. We start with The Rock's net worth. A website called CelebrityNetWorth.com is reporting that Dwayne The Rock Johnson has a net worth of $220 million. Damn, that is a lot of net worth. Mine would be about minus £5. So good job, Rock. To be fair, his movies have been pretty banging at the minute. So yeah, he deserves it. Then we go to Renee Young commenting on Twitter about having a colour commentary role in WWE. She went, "Thanks for the love, guys. I feel like the more I get asked about this, the more I feel like I'd be open to trying it again in the right circumstances. But honestly, any woman that could step up and fill that role would be huge for WWE." Crimson Raven said, "I think you could be amazing in a play-by-play role, a bit like Maranello does in NXT. She went, "LOL, I could literally never do play-by-play, especially like Maro. But colour, I'd try that again." I would love to see Renee Young as a commentator. I really would. Please give her that role. Then we go to a bit Saudi Arabian thing. Jerry the King Lawler talked about going to Saudi Arabia, saying, after reading a list of WWE sent out about the trip to Saudi Arabia, he's worried about the fact he won't be able to use his King wrestling title during the pay-per-view. "If I walk out there and pretend to be a king, is that going to be an offence to the royal family?" So yeah, he's concerned. Obviously you can be, because what is their policy about, like impersonating a king and stuff like that? So obviously he's been playing the king character since the 70s, since before this prince was alive. I believe the prince is the one making the most of the changes, isn't he? I know there's still a king involved, but I believe there is a prince, the one who's spearheading the change, which is fantastic. So I hope he gets to use it anyway. Then we go to why Paige was not on SmackDown Live. She was at home with the family in the United Kingdom. She was on Instagram with a picture with her family, which I won't show because they're her family. Much needed home time. GB had a blast here all week, so she should be there for the Greatest Royal Rumble. I think I don't actually know when her next scheduled appearance is. She also put, "I miss them so much when I'm not here with them, but I get to see them, which means the world to me. That they never forgot their auntie Rhea and give me just as many cuddles as they can when I'm home. Next time I get to see you after the trip, it'll be me taking you to Disneyland in Florida. Love my nieces and nephews more than anything." Aww. Aww. That's so nice. It's all the crazy world. Just the little things are nice. Speaking of crazy world, there's been a heated exchange online between Chyna's mother and ex-manager Anthony Anzaldo. The basic story is he set up a GoFundMe to raise money for a Hollywood Forever cemetery plot for Chyna. He wrote, "I have had the honour of sharing my home with Chyna's urn for the past 2 years. Friday the 20th April is the 2-year anniversary of her passing. However, I think it's time has come for all of her fans to be able to come and visit her. I would like to place her urn and lay her to rest in the Hollywood Forever Cemetery in Hollywood, California. I think she would really love it there. There are several celebrities buried there, and placing her right next to Judy Garland would make Chyna happy, I'm sure. She loved the Wizards of Oz. To be clear, half of Chyna's ashes were laid to rest 3 miles due west of the Pacific Ocean off of Esplanade and Avenue A in Redondo Beach. A quarter was given to her mother, and in this urn is another quarter of Chyna's ashes. I'm raising only money to buy the plot and get a chapel for a 1-hour memorial. I would like to have this take place as soon as possible, within the next 4 to 60 days. All donations, any amounts, graciously appreciated. This burial plot will be for the fans, by the fans." Jan LeCue, Chyna's mother, commented immediately, going, "As Chyna's mother and the sole beneficiary, technically and legally, I own these ashes that Anthony is talking about, and he has no right to even have them, let alone decide how to dispose of them. I allowed him to keep 3/4 of them initially with the understanding agreement on his part that all 3/4 of them would be scattered in the Pacific Ocean. He was not supposed to keep any of them back. Otherwise, that didn't happen. Obviously, that didn't happen. I have had enough dealing with Anthony to know that he could care less about Chyna's fans. His sole interest is in himself making money off of others and making himself look good. Be wary of giving this campaign any money. Obviously, I will be contacting GoFundMe and my attorney if I need to shut this down. Please don't donate to this GoFundMe. It is a scam. Anthony was supposed to scatter all the ashes. They added my daughter in the Pacific Ocean. Obviously, he lied about that. Technically and legally, any of the ashes he has now belong to me as my daughter's sole beneficiary. This is nothing more than a scam to get your money from you. I can tell you story after story about Anthony and my dealings with him and how he treated me and my attorneys. Stay away from this guy. He is a snake. He never really cared about Chyna, only what he could make off of her. Now, even in her death, I know for a fact that she fired him before her death. Save your money. Donate to a reputable animal rescue, which Chyna would love. He then responded, "This is not a scam. This is very real. This is both for Chyna and her fans. Her mother did not see her for 30 years. It's hateful for reasons beyond me. I will not engage, but I can assure you that I have the legal right to do with what I wish with these quarter of the ashes, and I have the permit to own authorized by the state of California. Half of the remains, which were spread across the Pacific Ocean, a quarter with her mother. Those are the facts. Chyna would love to be visited by fans next to one of her idols. Don't let the haters be the gatekeepers." The mother then responded, "In spite of what she says, I can assure you that this is a scam. I have saved every single email from Joni before she died, and I've spoken with WWE wrestler star who told me directly that he knew Anthony was fired by Joni before she died. In fact, he told me that Anthony even told him that. She hated Anthony, would never have wanted Anthony to do what he's proposing to do. I'm not hateful, actually far from it. I just hate the idea of Anthony continuing to try and scam others out of money by playing the friend role. It's just not true. I have hundreds of emails to prove what I'm saying. Also, my attorney, both here in North Carolina and California, have told me on several occasions that what kind of person Anthony is and how horrible Anthony treated them. Now, to be clear, I have several documents in my possession regarding Joni's remains. First is the cremation purchase receipt from Best Cremations Care of California, in which there is a permit issued to the cremated her remains, which was no permit issued ownership to Anthony. In fact, also my possession is signed to me and notarized date April 22nd, 2016, addressed to whom it may concern, which authorized Anthony to make certain decisions regarding the remains, including release of her body into LA coroner election and cremation facility and funeral memorial services. The restrictions to these decisions were as follows. Anthony was to review any plan of cremation and funeral services with me prior to execution of family approval. In addition, Anthony was arranged for Joni's ashes to be sent to me in North Carolina. Further, the letter authorized extension for my daughter's personal effects. Anthony was to gain access to Joni's living quarters and excess monies and personal effects to be forwarded to me. This letter also clearly states that all decisions by Anthony shall be binding up to me and my written approval of the decision. Well, that never happened. Anthony just went on his merry way acting like he was a big shot and called all the shots and decisions without getting any of my approval in writing for anything. There was nothing ever in writing signed and notarized by me approving any of Anthony's decision, including celebration services held for her, which he just made the decision to give away Joni's cello, which under California law was legally my property, as I am her sole beneficiary. Nor is there anything in writing that this points regarding this big GoFundMe campaign now and his right to even have the ashes, let alone make a decision on what to do with them. As usual, he's trying to pull something over on the fans. For the record, anyone who wants to discuss anything with me regarding Anthony's deceptivism has only gone to Facebook and messaged me. I will certainly reply back. Also, for the record, I'm going to contact the police and file whatever I need to file in regard to Anthony's latest actions and the ashes. As of writing, that was her. As of writing, he had raised $35 out of the $25,000 goal. But luckily, the update, he has shut down the GoFundMe page. He said, "I'm going to shut down this page tomorrow and my YouTube post. The negative energy around all of this is ridiculous. I will get the funds privately and put Chyna at the Hollywood cemetery without all of this. I just thought it would be great if it was done by the fans. But once again, the Wicked Witch of the East and all her goons stepped in to make noise. Funny how she just laid to rest just a few feet. Funny how she will be laid to rest just a few feet from Judy Garland. What I will say is that I have every legal and moral right to do what I want, what I'm doing, and once again, We put 50% of her ashes in the Pacific Ocean. A quarter to Mother went to me, a quarter to me, which is in the end. I have the permit to prove it. I also listed where all the funds were going. All costs are variable. A few bad apples. So that's where that story ends. Hopefully, that was a lot of talk reading, but I wanted to cover it in full detail of what everybody had said. Personally, I'm kind of going on the Mother's side here, because I do remember a story breaking in 2016 about him being fired, and then she died shortly after. I do remember some story like that, and to be honest, her mother doesn't want to do anything vicious, and he's trying to get money to raise something, to do something. But yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one, but I would go with the mother in this situation. And then we go to how much money the WWE is making from this Greatest Royal Rumble event. According to PW Stream, they are making an estimated $100 to $200 million just for hosting the Greatest Royal Rumble event. That is not including merch, tickets, and stuff like that. So they could be getting probably upwards of $250 million off this. It's mental. Then we have some great news for Zack Ryder. He tweeted, got some good news this morning. MCL, ACL, calf muscle strains. Nothing completely torn. No surgery will be needed. Thanks to everyone who reached out. It's time for Raw to get Zacked. So I hope he does something. Best of luck. And then we go to the speculation on the Royal Rumble match length. Mike Johnson talked, saying it's going to be 98 minutes just with entrances. So that's an hour and a half just entrances. We may end up, he said, we may actually end up with bell to bell with a match that lasts longer than Raw Gauntlet match took place a couple of months ago. We might be looking at the longest match in WWE history. That would probably be the Greatest Royal Rumble event. There's been talks about maybe doing an hour-long intermission in the Greatest Royal Rumble, which would accommodate a religious tradition of Saudi Arabia. He said it may be longer, but by normal traditions there's going to be an hour-long intermission because they have a prayer hour which would take place in the middle of the show. I can respect that as a culture. So I know it'd probably interrupt the show, but if that's what their culture is, that's what their culture is. I've got no problem with that. I mean, it's probably going to be, maybe if they could just show clip packages or anything for the people watching on the network, just so they don't get bored for an hour. But yeah, fair point. Just let's get on with this thing. Then we go to Dave Meltzer talking about the situation regarding Bruno Sammartino's death. It was said to be a result of multiple organ failures due to heart issues. Meltzer notes a portion of Sammartino's heart was damaged at the age of 12 from rheumatic fever? Something like that. Let me...
Rheumatic.
Yeah, rheumatic fever. He was reportedly not aware of this issue with his heart until the last few years of his life. Over the past few months, he was in and out of the hospital and was reportedly suffering from... I'm not a medical person. Oh my god, why can't you just give me the pronunciation like you did on that one?
Diverticulitis.
There, he had that. He added that Sammartino didn't want people knowing about his condition, and very few people were aware about his health problems. The belief is that the years of heavy training added 15 to 20 years on his life, but eventually the good portion of his heart could no longer overcompensate for the damaged portion. May you rest in peace, you absolutely lovely legend. And just one final quick story. Alexa Bliss reportedly had surgery for new breast implants. She apparently had breast implants prior to working for WWE and then just had new ones put in. She missed last week's South African tour, but she is still scheduled to be at Backlash facing Nia Jax. She also teased a nice picture on Instagram, well, video on Instagram, and it's getting the world buzzing about it. So yeah, that's the wrestling news stream. I do hope you've enjoyed it. Please give this video a like, subscribe to see more content, and I'll catch you later.